So it's November 5th, 2024, and there's so much flare up in the atmosphere, and tribalism is kicking up. I don't know if my soul just can't participate, or I'm not designed to, or what. Or I'm around some who are participating so intensely that it just doesn't make sense for me to. It's like, I know some folks who are participating for plenty of us. And that's part of my privilege as well, that I'm extremely grateful to participate into. And also, it's not about privilege from a social hierarchical measurement. It's like, what is the design? What is the role? A hammer and a nail and a table and a soccer ball all have completely different utility in humanity. Just like a rocket ship and a BMW or a Volvo and a Honda and a carpet and a shoe and a Louis Vuitton shoe and a Skechers shoe. It's just about the integral, holistic model of humanity coming together to create the web of now. And in the web of now, from a non-duality perspective, consciousness is organizing and therefore navigating and therefore often arguing about who it is amongst itself. And one of my, I guess you could say, favorite or like automatic frameworks that lands for me more than other things is the Law of One, the teachings of Ra, and the 7 densities as a framework. It's not like an idea, it's a reality. And if you don't know, then you don't know. But all you have to study is what the 7 densities imply about the evolution of consciousness on this planet as we enter Aquarius, as we exit Pisces, as we shift up from Manipura into Anahata, and what Christos consciousness looks like. And for all of the, that's a very interesting thing. The component of how it seems like Christians have really become synonymously identified with the Republican Party. That seems fascinating to me. I don't remember ever hearing that, like when I was growing up. I don't think I remember. I don't remember hearing that so obviously, at least. And if you think about it, just archetypically, the Liberal Party and the Party of, therefore, Liberation, yeah, they align with the dissolution of things like old structures of colonialism and old structures of patriarchal rigidity, which you could say has like undeniable value and a lot of different values. But then you also have these moments where the quote-unquote conservative Christian Republican side of things has this framework where they're like energetically interested in protecting sovereignty and the structure within society that uses peer pressure to evolve things faster. Then the conservative Christians are like, let's tend to things growing at a good pace. And then, yeah, it's like humanity's arguing over how fast the gas pedal gets pressed. And then there's tribalism that just balloons. I can't help but feel how that, it's just like the tribalism balloons arguments into place. And everyone stops identifying as a soul, and everyone starts identifying as a component of the tribe. And that's another thing I noticed very, very interestingly. It's almost like less about, as there's deer in the background, it's almost like so many are less able to orient around actual topics and actual policies, and they're more hooked into the identification of who they side with, meaning who else that they know in their social awareness is going to vote for who. And they almost magnetically get hooked into voting for those people. So they get hooked into voting for an avatar that represents their consciousness. And then whether or not they believe in those things, or even know about all of the different things that that avatar represents, or that political party represents, the people on the left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats, and people therefore that identify as Republicans and Democrats, are getting hooked into a kind of like guilty by association in whatever this person that they're voting for represents about the groups. Man, what a fascinating conversation. And also it's so violent so quickly. I think that's why it feels so difficult for me to participate, because it's like, it's this place where it's like designed for arguing. And as soon as arguing happens, I almost just, in my nervous system, in my somatic body, I'm like, I can't play. I can't play here. I can't participate here. Or I find a great deal of strain to do so, at least. Even speaking like this feels very awkward, very weird. Interesting pairing with like the autumn equinox and like the decay of a cycle towards the beginning of a renewal. I personally feel like Donald Trump is an avatar that has so many judgments placed on him. And then you see him speak on like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, or the Andrew Schultz one was fun. But seeing how quick he is, he's like very quick. And he's like 80. I mean, I don't exactly know how old he is, but he's very fast intellectually. And that seems indicative of a certain kind of vitality and health. And then I can't help but see all these different moments where people use the clips that are snapshot moments that are taken out of context of certain speeches that he gives or has given, and they use those, they wield those, they wedge those as an argument of why he's racist or why he's against certain people or evil. And it's such an interesting mechanism, because it's such a reactionary mechanism. I know there are many who sense that he's actually bad, and unfortunately, the ones that I know who sense that he's actually bad aren't able to fully extrapolate as to what makes him bad separate from those clips, and they haven't taken the time to like look at the mechanism that uses those clips to make him bad, and how the media even contributes to this. Even that's why I struggle to identify as Republican or Democrat or Christian or anything, because I feel like my work in this lifetime is to study and look at the mechanisms that create or amplify division amongst the collective. And I haven't seen one more powerful than tribalism. You could say that tribalism is a mechanism. You could say that tribalism is a lever that some utilize to create misperception. And those who really are doing that often are Luciferic. Almost, as far as my studies and my attention has seen, almost unanimously, archetypically, that's who that is. Now, you know, coming outside of a Christian framework, you know, Christianity has been poisoned and polluted, so know that I'm not coming from there. But the Christos is a thing, and Luciferic and Ahrimanic behavior are things. And some are more prone to creation, and some are more prone to destruction, and some are more prone to creation that is selfish in its drive. And that again comes back to the law of one and the 7 densities. Someone can have a really clear third eye, but they might not have a clear heart, and that causes them to abuse that power of seeing and lever it or leverage it against those who can't see, which just almost always comes back to tribalistic manipulation. Maybe that's what I've been trying to say. I can't help but just see a bunch of tribalistic manipulation. But I get that somebody has to fight for it. Somebody has to fight for that space. Or really, it's not like someone has to fight for it. It's almost like everyone's already fighting for it. So if you're called to fight for it, you're going to fight for it. It's not like you won't have plenty of friends to meet in the middle and either argue with or side with. But there's space in the middle that is more interested in observing, space in the middle that's more interested in staying clean from that tribalistic hyper-identification. And the path is narrow and few will walk it. Ashe, Amen.